show where we catch you up with the chat up of our weekly headlines. I'm your host, Elizabeth Lloydie, and I hope that you are ready to chat it up with me today. Now, as always, you can keep up with the GBCam network in various ways. You can continue to listen and watch live 24/7 at www.gbkm.tv or www.gbkm.fm, where you can also join in the conversation by commenting, which we're going to need for today's show. You can like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Also, you can catch up on any past shows you may have missed. Check out our upcoming show schedule, our breaking news tab, all of that good stuff. You can also download our free app available for all iOS and Android devices today. Now, all you need to do is search GBKM in your App Store or the Google Play Store. Download the app and turn on your notifications because you will be notified every time we go live, so you won't ever have to miss a show again. And you can take us on the go with you. Listen in the car with your Bluetooth. You can take us on a walk with you during your mental health walk in our restricted lockdown phases. Or if you just want to enjoy some sunshine, you can take us on the go with you. Listen 24/7, watch 24/7, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. You can still catch up on past shows that you may have missed or may love to rewatch again. You can also continue to watch us on Facebook and YouTube at GBCam Network, where you can also join in the conversation by liking, sharing, and commenting. You can also continue to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at GBCam Network for more updates on what's going on right here at GBKM. Now, hello chatters. You may have noticed we're doing things a little bit different today. This is the Chat Up Show, and it honestly wouldn't be the Chat Up Show without you, my lovely chatters, who join every week, who always have opinions, who always have things to say, who make this job and this work so much fun. I love it. I love coming here every week to talk to you. But this week I want to talk to you directly, okay? Because you and I, we're right here, right? Looking you dead in your eyes right now. We're right here. We're paddies. We're buddies. We're pals.
Canada's #1 African barbecue, the Suya Spot. Serving and satisfying your suya needs from multiple locations across the GTA, including Scarborough, downtown Toronto, North York, Woodbridge, and Mississauga. Also located in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
On air today, make sure you call in the number that is on the screen right now. That is 647-913-4256. Now that is our live studio direct WhatsApp line. So once you call, you will be put in through to me and you'll be chatting with me live on air about our specific topic this week. So again, that number is +1, sorry for the area code for those calling internationally, +1 647-913-4256. Now the lines will be open until close to the end of the show, so call in at any time to give your 2 cents. Now let's get to the topic. I'm sure maybe some of you haven't seen the social media post that I've made about what our topic is today, but we're going to be chatting about that. Essentially, social media. Now, there's many times that I've talked about social media, and I've always reiterated how it's important to know that we're not just all adults using social media, that it's not just all grown people with fully developed frontal lobes who are clacking away on their keyboards, who are posting away and creating content, that it's people of different walks of life. From folks who are 80 to folks who are 13 is the age a lot of social media platforms allow you to create an account, but some are probably younger. There's a lot of different ages and a lot of different people who are using these platforms as a way to engage with their community, as a way to spread awareness, as a way to just have fun, as a hobby, as enjoyment. We like enjoyment, okay? Don't let anyone come and disturb it. But at the same time, there's the opposite side of social media that we understand a little too well. We've talked about it a little bit on the Chat Up Show, but a lot of times the discussion kind of gets cut short and I talk about how it's a conversation for another time. Well, that other time is here right now. We're going to talk about it all today. We're going to talk about whether social media is more harmful than it is good. So, phone lines are open. Please rain your opinions down on me. I want to talk about it with you. I want to hear what your opinions are on whether you think that social media is more harmful in the long run than it is good. Now, we're going to talk about the good and the bad that comes with the social media, and maybe even the ugly if we really want to get into it. We're going to talk about it all because, yes, We see the good in social media. We see the way that it brings communities together. Globalization is on a completely different scale now because of social media. That things that happen halfway across the world, you can find out within minutes, and it's all at your fingertips. It's all so easy to reach for now. You don't have to go to a library to read about it. You don't need to go to an internet cafe unless you don't have access to these devices, of course. But the majority of us now are able to connect with the whole globe right here with this little device that is so light. Well, it's getting heavier now, but it's pretty light, fits in your pocket for the most part, unless you're a woman. But again, that's a conversation for another day. It's so easy now for us to connect with one another, and it's so beautiful because that allows us, especially during this pandemic, times where we weren't able to connect with our loved ones, times that we weren't able to connect with people in general, times where our communities felt so distant and so far away that even though they are within arm's reach, it still feels like we're not connected. Social media has allowed us to feel some level of connection, some form of connection. It's a beautiful thing. You see a lot of people who say we met over social media and now we've been married for however many years. Now we have beautiful kids. You hear these beautiful stories or friendships that started in chat rooms that have grown over the years and have become beautiful stories that you can pass on to future generations and say, this is how I met my best friend, or this is how I met your auntie or uncle, or whatever. It's a beautiful space. But it can also be a very ugly space. We've talked about the impact that internet trolling and trolls have on people, that it's a form of abuse and harassment. We also need to recognize and acknowledge that side of social media as well, that it can have an impact, especially on the future generations to come, but even on generations here now, right now. Grown-ups, there are grown-ups who run away from social media because they feel like it's too toxic of a space. And why is that? A lot of us want to blame the creators of these platforms. We want to call up Mark Zuckerberg and say, you're not doing your job right because my child is either being cyberbullied or I'm being harassed or people are doxing me or my public information is being spread out there. Okay, but then yes, we can have some vim towards the creators of these platforms because generally you would think that they would have protocols or things put in place to ensure that all users have an enjoyable experience. But it is still down to the users on the app. If there's nobody on Facebook, if there's nobody on Twitter, if there's nobody on Instagram, if there's nobody on YouTube, if there's nobody on TikTok, we won't have these issues. We won't be talking about the importance of mental health and how it plays a part in how we use social media these days. We won't be having these conversations because users won't be on it. But a lot of our social media experiences are user-generated. It's how we interact with other people. It's how other people interact with us. It's how, people interact with different forms of content. It's how emboldened or empowered they feel to interact with certain kinds of content in the ways that they choose to do it. At the end of the day, it's down to us as the users. We love to point fingers at, oh, you are the one that's in charge of this, you need to fix it, or you need to do better. And granted, yes, they do, and we will get into that, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But at the same time, we have to remember that we are in charge of our social media experience. You can block, you can delete, you can do all of that, but if you're constantly allowing the negativity into your life, you're probably gonna hold on to it. And a lot of people love to say like, oh, it's social media, just shut your eyes or close the app, delete it, whatever. But if you've witnessed something that has impacted you, if someone has said something that's racially motivated, that's a microaggression or just an aggression, because it's not even micro, it's just a blatant aggression towards you, it's not always easy to just erase your memory and not remember that someone tweeted in 2016 that dark-skinned women don't deserve love or something. If you're a young person, you read that, that's probably gonna stick with you. And we love to say, oh, develop thicker skin and make sure you don't do that. How about you don't tweet nonsense that you know is gonna hurt other people? How about we start there? Why is the onus on the people who are getting harassed and bullied that they have to then take the steps to remove themselves from the situation? Why are you bullying people over the interwebs anyway? Why? Think about that. Think about how even you engage on social media. Celebrities is a great point to start with. A lot of people love to attack their favorite celebs on social media. And it's funny because people are thinking, well, they're a celebrity, they're probably rich, they probably have people, doing everything for them, waiting on them, hand and foot, people dropping a dime, dropping many dimes on them at their beck and call, all these things. You're probably dehumanizing them in a way because they're celebrities, because they're famous, because they're public figures. We forget that they're human beings. So it's easy that if you think that a celebrity's done something that you don't like, for you to just pick up that trusty little keyboard and click clack away and tell them exactly how you feel and then stand behind, well, that's my opinion. Okay, but think about what your opinion did, not to the celebrity, but to someone else who's reading it, who may be in the same situation, who may be going through that as well. Think about what impact that is having on their life. Granted, if you don't care, you don't care. But if you are someone who does care about the impact that you're having in life, how you use social media matters. Because we love to think that it's not real, that it doesn't really have any bearing in real life, but we know that that's factually incorrect. Let's look at protests in 2020. The death of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd were the catalyst to one of the biggest movement resurgence I've ever seen in my entire life. Granted, I'm young, and maybe there are other people who've seen revolution on a grander scale, but this was global. We had protests happening across the globe in fight for the same justice, the same kind of justice. Black Lives Matter, that was honestly, it started off as a hashtag, has become a whole movement. Has become the life's purpose of so many people, so many activists, that this is what they eat, breathe, sleep every single day. Where did it start from? Social media. Where did it gain traction? Social media. So when we say that social media is not real, I think that a lot of the consequences of those protests are very real. We may think that it didn't have any kind of impact on our daily lives, but there were laws and bills passed because of these protests. As a consequence of people marching in the streets for their rights, for justice, for equality, for equity, social media was the birthplace for this. And SARS literally started as a social media movement to bring awareness to the brutality that SARS officers were raining on Nigerian citizens, especially the youth. Again, gained global traction from local activists working on the grounds to those in the diaspora working together to help, work with the same cause and help fight for the same type of justice. Started off social media as well. Very real impacts in life. It led to hearings. I mean, of course, a lot of people feel that enough wasn't done in terms of really dealing with police brutality in the country, but there were some steps made. We can't ignore that. We can't deny that there were some steps made. Social media. So when we sit here and say, oh, it's not real when someone's getting harassed and bullied, but it's real when people are fighting for justice, that's a double standard. We got to pick which lane we're going to stay on. Either it's real or it's not real. We can't play both sides of the fence. So if you're gonna witness harassment or bullying or participate in it, it's exactly as real as if someone says, hey, tomorrow at 12 p.m. we're going to meet at Dundas Square, Young and Dundas Square, and we're going to have a protest. And it actually brings people together, actually brings a community together for the same cause. Social media is powerful. It's the same as our words, too. Our words are just as powerful. I mean, I talked about it with James T. Griffin, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, about how powerful the way we speak to ourselves is, but also how we speak to others and how we engage with others, the type of language that we use. And a lot of the times with social media, it's really easy to just hide behind the keyboard, be a keyboard warrior, as they say. And that's when it starts to get really harmful, because if someone is continuously harassing you, sure, you can block them. But what's stopping them from creating a new email with a completely different fake name, new identity, whatever, creating a new account to just continue the harassment again? And then on top of that, if you want to, go to the police about it, that this person is stalking me online, constantly harassing me, sending me death threats, chances are you're probably not going to be taken as seriously. Even people who are stalked in real life complain about how, even when they report these incidences, they don't receive the kind of support that they would need. Talk less of things that are happening on the internet. You're probably going to be met with the same conclusion of, well, sorry, it's the internet. Just close your eyes or shut it off. It's not that easy. Things stay with you. You hear one thing. There's some people that they hold on to one thing that was said to them in their childhood well until their deathbed. Now, imagine if you're getting tens of thousands of this every single day from complete strangers, people you've never met, people you can't even identify, people that you could probably see them face to face walking down the street and you won't even know. There's a certain level of anonymity that comes with social media that allows for this to fester. And it's there, it's not hidden. We see it a lot. I mean, how many comment sections and threads have you read through that you saw someone kind of talking out the side of their neck at someone else that they've never met, that probably isn't their age mate, that they have no business speaking to disrespectfully or the way that they speak to them, but they still do it? Because it's easy to do that when you're hidden behind a profile that people don't really know who you are. And you probably won't say these things to the person in person if you saw them face to face, right? Like there's some things that we say on social media that if we were directly in front of that person, some of us will probably keep our mouth shut and bite our tongue. Maybe it's time we start, keeping our fingers shut and stop typing so quickly on social media. Now, I want to talk about the very real harm that can come with some facts of social media use. A couple months ago, as we remember, about late September, we remember that there was a whistleblower who finally came forward and identified herself as the whistleblower who presented the documents and facts for the Wall Street Journal report on Facebook and how it deals with hate crime and abuse and harassment. And she came out and basically said, they're not doing enough, right? That these platforms aren't doing enough. Now we have our first caller of the show joining us right now. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Hello, I'm calling from Nigeria.
Hello, welcome to the Chat Up Show.
Thank you very much. My name is Titi Adigun. Can I please join in the conversation today?
Yes, of course, Titi. Would love to hear your opinion.
Okay. For me, I think social media in and of itself is not bad. Mm-hmm. It's been creating awareness. Many people are using it for business purposes. Mm-hmm. I've met a lot of people on social media that are closer than family members today. Mm-hmm. What makes it harmful is how it is used, how we use it, and how we allow it to affect us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hello?
Yes, still here with you.
All right. There are so many crazy things going on social media now that we can't even begin to talk about. So many people are posting things that are so negative. They talk about people on social media without any iota of truth. They post things that will affect other people's mental health. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The way some people use social media I can't begin to talk about it. It has a very negative on our society. Negative impact on our society. But we cannot, because of that, conclude that social media is bad. Mm-hmm. Because it's not. It just depends on the way we are using it. It depends on the way we allow it to affect us.
So then, in your opinion, how would we then control how social media is being used? Because as you said, there's a lot of negativity that we haven't even begun to scrape. There's a lot of just darkness that goes on in social media that some of it is out in the open that we can see, and a lot of it is hidden with a lot of hidden messages that we're not even going to get to. That's a completely different conversation. But how would you say that is the best way for people, society, communities to, deal with the negativity on social media to help control it so that it's still a good experience for the majority of people?
There is what is called the block button. Mm-hmm. You can block and you can unblock. Yeah. You can accept friendship. You may decide not to. Mm-hmm. That's the way I use it. People will send friend requests. I'll look at your profile. If I don't feel good about it, I don't accept it. Mm-hmm. And if I did accept your request, and I see that you are constantly posting negative things or things that are making me feel bad about myself or other people, I just go ahead and block you. Mm-hmm. The space is huge.
Yeah.
So if you are not, giving me what I want, then I block you off. Mm-hmm. As parents, we can also talk to our people, talk to our children, talk to our family members. Don't do this. Because you see, the younger ones, I'm a bit older. The younger ones are using this social media, and it's affecting the way they think about themselves. Because somebody would have edited their pictures and do a lot of things about it, and then they come and post it online, and some of our children will look at it and start thinking, oh, why don't I have this body? Why don't I have this job? Why am I not this successful? Majority of things on social media aren't even true. That's why it's called social media. People go there to say all sorts. People go there to catch cruise, as they say. Don't allow their cruise to affect you. Think about yourself. Think about what is good for you. I know it's easier said, but what do? Social media comes with a lot of good and a lot of bad. So you just pick what is good for you.
Yeah.
I use it a lot.
Which platforms do you prefer?
And I'm grateful that we have a platform like that. I'll give you an example quickly before I leave. There was a girl recently who posted on social media that she was looking for employment. And somebody saw what she posted and invited her for an interview, only to harm the lady. Didn't just harm the lady, but killed her.
Wow.
You see, social media. But I know some people who have gone on social media to say, I'm also looking for a job, and they ended up getting the job. So it comes with a lot of good, and it comes with a lot of bad, and that's life generally. So we choose. We don't say because there is evil in life, and so we decide, okay, I don't want to be alive anymore. You know what I'm saying? So you just control how you use it, and you don't let it affect you. Just move on. It's social media anyway.
Before you go, I do have a question for you. You mentioned that you're calling from Nigeria, and recently the Twitter ban in Nigeria was just lifted. What is your opinion on government intervention on the usage of social media platforms for citizens?
As a matter of fact, I'm pro the government. And I sincerely, and I'm being honest here, I sincerely, approve of the fact that it was banned. Because people were using it, irresponsibly. People were posting a lot of lies about government. And then the Twitter owner kind of disrespected the government of the day. And, even though we think, okay, we are benefiting from whatever you created, you are not going to come and insult our government. No, you will not come and bully us. And so the government said, okay, enough of this madness. And yes, we are abiding.
For the most part. Yes.
No, we did. Like, I didn't go on Twitter until it was lifted.
Wow.
There are other means of going on social media. It's not just Twitter. And so many other patriotic Nigerians
who adhere to the rules. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time a government has banned a form of social media. I mean, we see it in China, they ban whole services and systems.
It's not just in China. I lived in Dubai. It's controlled. There is a lot of liberty in Nigeria, a lot of freedom. And once it's abused, then the government has the right to do whatever they want to do.
That's true, but it's not against your freedom of speech? Freedom of media?
It isn't. There are still other platforms to air whatever you want to say or speak whatever you want to speak or whatever. It's not just Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hear you, Ms. Tuti. I hear you. Thank you so much for calling in. And I think, you hold the sentiments of a lot of folks who believe that if people don't know how to act, then there will be consequences to your action. And if a government wants to intervene, then it's well within their right to intervene.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And let me tell you, Chat Up Show is one of my favorites.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. And there you have it, our first caller calling from Nigeria. I think it's interesting when we do think of, government intervention. And just before we went on that call, I was talking about the whistleblower, the Facebook whistleblower, who also, basically put forward to Congress to say, here are facts that we can use against Facebook because they're not doing what they need to do to ensure safety across their platforms. Now, Facebook isn't just that singular app. When we speak of Facebook, we're talking about the conglomerate that owns other platforms as well, Instagram, WhatsApp, to name just a few. And so when we think of if one thing is happening on this platform, then chances that it's happening across the different ones is probably pretty high. And that it's a little worrisome. Now we're going to go on a quick break before I dive into the facts and figures of what the whistleblower discussed in terms of how harmful this platform has been on not just mental health, but even in inciting, if you will, hate crimes and hate speech. And so stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Visit any location today or stay home and order through
DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Skip the Dishes.
For more information, check out our website at www.thesuyaspot.com or call the toll-free line at +1 866 448 7892. The Suya Spot. You built it, now use it. Vous l'avez construit, utilisez-le. Canada's #1 African barbecue, the Suya Spot. Serving and satisfying your Suya needs from multiple locations across the GTA, including Scarborough, downtown Toronto, North York, Woodbridge, and Mississauga. Also located in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Visit any location today or stay home and order through
DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Skip the Dishes.
For more information, check out our website at www.thesuyaspot.com or call the toll-free line at +1 866 448 7892. The Suya Spot. You built it, now use it. Vous l'avez construit, utilisez-le. Canada's #1 African barbecue, the Suya Spot. Serving and satisfying your Suya needs from multiple locations across the GTA, including...
Hello and welcome back to the Chat Up Show. Today is a very special Let's Chat segment where I am encouraging you to call into our studio WhatsApp line to give your opinion on whether you think social media is more harmful than it is good. Now, we've already had our first caller who called before the break, calling from Nigeria, where we discussed the Twitter ban that happened in Nigeria and how social media depends on how you use it. That if you don't want to, engage in the negative content, block, delete, mute, everything that doesn't serve you, that doesn't empower you, that isn't positive, uplifting. You have the power to, create your social media experience, which is very true. But so do the platform creators. They also hold a little power here. I did say at the beginning of the show that we can't only blame Mark Zuckerberg and all the others and Jack from Twitter, that we can't blame them for how the platforms are being used, because a lot of the experiences are user generated, that whoever's using social media is whoever's going to, however they're going to enjoy it is based on what their special interests are, what they like to spend their time doing. And if they like to be negative and toxic, then chances are that's the kind of content they're going to be sharing on these platforms. But if you're interested in spreading awareness or empowering others or just connecting with a community, building a community, then there are spaces for all of that on social media, and you just need to pick the space that you want to be a part of. Now, before we went on the break, we were talking about the Facebook whistleblower. Her name is Frances Hagen. Now, she worked as product manager on the civic misinformation team at Facebook. Basically, those who are in charge of, making sure that misinformation isn't constantly being spread. Now, we saw this cry for some sort of control of fake news. There it is. I was going to say false narratives. #fake news on these platforms. That a lot of people were saying, especially during the early days of COVID, that a lot of misinformation was being spread that was putting people in harm's way, that was harming people, that wasn't helping folks. But because things, once they go viral, they catch on like wildfire and they spread so quickly. And not just within your own little subsect of a community, across the globe. That people in South Korea, in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, in India, in Nigeria, they will see the same news and that can spread again. We talk about the WhatsApp aunties groups with the forwarding, and you get the notification that this message has been forwarded many times. it's so easy now to just spread information, and not everyone is fact-checking this information that they're spreading. So what are these platforms doing to help with facilitating some more fact-checking? Sure, now, if you're on Instagram, you'll see, like if you post anything to do with COVID-19 or the pandemic, that there's a little message that comes up about how you can get more information on COVID-19, and it will probably link to either the CDC or the WHO or whichever Health Canada, whichever health system you're using in your country, I guess, dealing with this pandemic. It will take you there as a form of being like, okay, yes, someone has mentioned what's going on right now, but here's where you can get some actual information that has been fact-checked as well. And that if things are considered fake news, that they are flagged and some reported, taken down if need be. That there are some steps that have been taken, but Francis said that Facebook kind of dropped the ball after some time, that they were on it and then they just stopped. One major notes that we can remember this from was during the January 6th insurrection. Basically, Francis claimed that Facebook had dissolved its civic integrity unit after the election, but before the January 6th Capitol insurrection. Basically meaning that they felt that since the election was done and there were no riots and that people were, generally peaceful about it. This was the election, the Joe Biden, Donald Trump elections that, was kind of heated because coming off the back of Trump's first 4 years, a lot of folks were pretty heated about this election, but they felt that they didn't need to, keep up civic integrity, making sure that fake news and misinformation wasn't being spread, that, voter suppression wasn't happening on their platform, that, they weren't technically participating in making sure that people weren't exercising their rights to vote or were getting false information regarding the election, that they only viewed that time period as the time to really focus on making sure that their civic integrity unit was up and running, but did not keep it going after. And a lot of folks say that that is the reason why people were able to plan the January 6th insurrection, that if Facebook had kept it up, that maybe folks could have reported it and it wouldn't have gotten to, the situation that happened on January 6th. Hagen worked at what she calls the so-called Civic Integrity Unit on Facebook and was in charge of combating political misinformation on the platform, but that the social media companies seemed to think that they were in the clear after the elections, and that's why they didn't continue it after the November 2020 elections. She said that they basically told us, we're dissolving this unit, and that basically it's like, oh good, we made it through the election without any riots, we can get rid of that now. And then a couple months later, there was the insurrection, which we could say was basically a breeding ground for a lot of hate speech and misinformation to be spread that led to people going to Capitol and storming it, I guess. She also added that she felt differently about the company after this particular moment because she felt that, she couldn't trust that Facebook was really invested in the safety of its community, of its users, that they didn't really take it seriously, that to save face, sure, they would, put these things up, but then once they feel that the storm is kind of settled or died down, that they're going to just remove these things that they've put in place to essentially keep their community safe on these platforms, is kind of a red flag. We're kind of thinking, okay, so you can make it a little bit safer, but you're choosing not to continue to keep it safe. What is it? Because of your own personal interests, political interests? A lot of questions rose from how Facebook managed that. She also then went on to talk about the impact on, youths, and that it really does have a negative impact on mental health, that basically Instagram is making kids absolutely miserable. Facebook, as we know, owns Instagram. And so during her 60-minute interview, where she basically gave us all this tea and all this information, the documents that she had leaked show that 13.5% of teen girls say Instagram makes thoughts of suicide worse, and that 17% say it makes their eating disorders worse. That what they're seeing on this platform is triggering them to a point where they feel less than, that their self-worth is diminished, that they feel as if though they can't post their natural selves, that they have to either add filters or edit as Titi even mentioned, that there's so much on social media that isn't completely true, that there's so much edited stuff, information, and images that are being posted on social media. We now have another caller joining us right now to hopefully discuss this a little bit further, but just a little bit more about what Frances was saying. She said, quote, "What's super tragic is Facebook's own research says, as these young women begin to consume this eating disorder content, they get more and more depressed, and it actually makes them use the app more." So the more your worth is tied to the number of likes you're getting or the kind of engagement that you're getting, the more chances you're going to use it, right? It's kind of like a drug. It's like that rush of dopamine or serotonin that you get when someone says, "Oh, I love this picture." You're like, "Okay, I want to post more so I can get more of that. It makes me feel good." We all go through it, okay? We all understand it. Now we have our caller joining us. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from and what's your name?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Hi, my name is Precious Omori. I'm calling from Nigeria.
Hello, Precious. Thank you for joining us on the Chat Up Show today.
Yeah, I've been enjoying your show. You're doing very, very well.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We're still here with you.
Okay, just a quick one. On the social media issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Social media has done a lot of good. Most of the times, we want to look at the bad side of things instead of focusing on the good side.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, in terms of business, I would look at that part. The kind of business that I do requires social media, requires me to meet people. And all I need to do is to go online, search for people's name, add them as my friend, and from there we begin to do business. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be in Dubai before I could communicate with somebody in Dubai. All I need to do is just to send maybe a DM on Instagram or on Facebook or on Twitter, and the business will be done in one way or the other. If we look at it from the aspect of communication, social media has also helped us communicate with most of our friends that we never thought that we would communicate with in the last couple of years. Like, there was a friend of mine I was looking for like 15 years. We went to same secondary school, and I could find the person on social media by just typing the person's name. In fact, what I did was I typed my school name, and all the people that went to that school started popping up on my handle.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to link up with old friends. We now had to form an association where we had to do a party, and we had to get together after like 15 years through the help of social media. So I think people should stop looking at the bad side. Yes, people spread negativity a lot. But the reality is most times we know bad news from good news. But people just choose to dwell on the bad news and not focus on the good side of it. So that's what I think.
Yeah, you're right. You're completely right that there's so much good that comes from social media. And again, it is based on how you use it at the end of the day. How you engage with different kinds of content. Block, delete, mute, whatever it is that you need to get rid of your site, get out of your, out of your space, headspace and whatnot, and use it for the good, for building businesses. And as I mentioned, when people say that, just delete the apps or just close your eyes, it's not that easy because, again, a lot of communities are built through social media. A lot of businesses and jobs come about through social media. As you say, you don't need to be in Dubai to connect with someone in Dubai, which makes working a lot easier internationally because you don't physically have to get on a plane, go over, have the meeting. You could just hop on a social media platform and conduct whatever business you need to conduct. And so it is down to how you want to use it and what you choose to focus on.
And I also realized that people liked bad news. Bad news spreads faster, whether we like it or not. No matter how we're going to paint the issue or paint the conversation, bad news spreads faster. For example, what's her name? Tiwa Savage. Tiwa Savage's video. She had a song that she put on air like a couple of weeks before that time, before her nude videos went viral.
Somebody's son,
it wasn't trending. Nobody was checking out the music. But after when her sex tape went on air, Tiwa Savage was trending. She was #1 on Instagram, on Twitter. People was checking out the video 24/7. So you just realize that people want bad news. Oh, somebody has snatched somebody's husband. That is what people want to hear.
Yeah.
Issues of advocacy, of people doing good, of people helping one another on social media, they don't trend. So it is what it is. We just have to look at the good side of it, how we can network with social media, how we can do businesses with social media, and forget about the negative part of it.
Yeah. And I think that's the message there, is that it's you choose to see the glass half full, right? You choose to see the positive parts of it. And the more positivity that we're putting out there and engaging with, and chances are the more we will see, hopefully. Even though, as you say, we all like amebo, we like to gossip a little bit, and gossip
Very
sells,
important.
You know, gossip sells. We can't deny that. That's a fact. That when we hear that someone's marriage or someone's baby mama, baby daddy drama, like, we're tuned in. We want to read through the thread. We want to see which receipts are exposed. A lot of us, I'm guilty of this too. I will own up to it. But at the same time, I also know that I can't consume too much of that information, because then it becomes draining. Or consume too much of the negative talk, because then it becomes draining, and you start thinking that everybody in the world thinks that same way. Everybody thinks this way. And though there are people who may, there are also those who don't. And there's also the positive side of things, as you say, networking, building communities, advocacy work, spreading awareness. There are whole crimes that have been, solved or helped being solved because of the communities that have been built on social media. So there's still good, as you said, there's good.
Lastly, before I go, I also want to say a very big thank you to social media. Reasons is because during the pandemic, oh my God, we were all locked in our houses. Yeah. And the only way we could communicate was through the help of social media. Everybody was locked in their houses. There was COVID. Nobody was going out. There was no movement. But we were able to communicate. We were able to... In fact, people had their weddings. I attended 2 weddings on social media during the pandemic.
It's beautiful.
So you could see how valuable the social media has been to us. Many people had their weddings on social media with friends, visual weddings. It was what was happening during the pandemic. I attended 2 of them, and it was very beautiful. I've never seen such a thing like that, and I enjoyed it. So I think that's all I could give for now. Thank you very much for actually picking my calls. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Precious, for tuning in and for sharing your opinion as well. I think it's important to hear other people's opinions, because it facilitates an interesting conversation. Like now, hearing about the virtual weddings, like there are so many that happened, and they were beautiful. And it was beautiful that we were able to find ways to adapt and still be the social beings that we are through these platforms.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
You too. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I mean, it's true. We do have to look at the positive as much as possible. It's not every day that we look at negative and be Debbie Downers and be upset about everything. There's still good. They're still good. I don't want this show to only be like social media is like the devil. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. My main point is we create our social media. So if we don't want to see negativity, toxic, whatever, content, you choose what you want to put out there and you want to spread. If you don't want to see negativity, don't retweet it, don't like it, don't post it on your story. Leave it where you found it. If something makes you mad, like to the point that you're upset, that you're itching, you're just itching to type a response, but your response will not add anything to the conversation, that it's just to share whatever anger you're feeling or bitterness you're feeling inside, sweetie, keep it to yourself. Write it in a journal. Write it in your notes app, delete it after, throw it away. If you just feel like you need to just get it out of you, because I feel like a lot of people use social media as like a personal diary, like a place where you can just vent. You're probably never going to see these people in real life. You're never going to meet them again. So who cares who sees what? You just want to get it out there so that it's not within you. But sometimes what you're putting out there isn't always the best. It may feel good for you to let it off your chest, to let someone know that you think that they're worthless or you don't think that they deserve anything in life. It may feel good for you to let go of that, but now you've put that on someone else. And what are you achieving? As Gabrielle Union, did you get the car? As Gabrielle Union said, did you get the car? Did you get the job? Did you get the man, the house? Like, what value did bringing and spreading negativity in the world bring in your life? I think that's what we need to reflect on while we're using social media. I think that's what we need to reflect on while we're dealing with people and just living in general. We're getting too comfortable with sharing negativity and thinking that it's a joke or funny or it's my opinion so I can share it. Okay, but what is your opinion adding? What value is that bringing to your life and those around you? Let's think about that, right? Now, we were talking about Facebook and how a lot of folks were feeling that Facebook wasn't doing as much as they needed to help deal with it. That, people are developing self-esteem issues because of these apps. Yes, of course, platforms can do what they can to help deal with it. That if there is a way for you to make it a safer space for others, then do that. Do what you need to do. But there's only so much they can control. There's only so much Facebook control. There's only so much Twitter can control. It's also up to us. Now, I know I've been talking a lot about the negative, but I do still want to talk about some of the positive experiences that I've witnessed on social media recently. Afrobeats. Let's talk about that. Globalization, okay? A decade ago, if you heard one D'banj song on the radio, it was hype. We were excited. We're like, yay, we're taking over. But now, Wizkid, Davido, even Olamide is on his way to becoming household name. Burna Boy, winning Grammys, winning awards, winning international recognition. I truly believe that it's because of the way social media has facilitated globalization to happen on a broader scale, that people don't have to travel anymore to disseminate information, that you could literally sit right here and find out what's going on across the globe within minutes. I just have to do a quick Google search for updates on what's going on in the news.
Hello.
Hello, we have another caller. Hello, caller.
Hello,
Where are you
good
calling
evening.
from?
My name is Ege. I'm calling from Benin, Nigeria.
Hello, Ehe. Welcome to the Chat-Up Show. It's great to have you.
First off, I want to thank you for the good job people are doing on GBKM.
Thank you.
Sometimes I watch your programs here in Nigeria, and I've gained a lot from it. So the program you are doing this evening, if social media is doing more harm than good, is that not the question?
Yes, it is.
Okay, to me, I feel the social media has helped a lot because for me, it has made us to connect to our loved ones globally. Even those that you have not seen for years, you've not heard from them for years. Through the social media, we've been able to connect, and life has been very good. Secondly, to me, it has helped to promote our businesses worldwide. Then, I feel social media too has increased our, how will I put it now, has increased our exposure. There are some things we read on social media, we see on social media, it has really, really helped to groom us very well. So I feel it's doing a lot of good and harm.
Yeah, that's true, especially with globalization and exposure as well. Just before you joined us on your call, I was talking about Afrobeats. A decade ago, not a lot of people would have heard of Wizkid or Davido or Burna Boy, Not a lot of people would be listening to their music, but now they're becoming globalized names, like that folks across the world know their songs, know their music. As you said, even connecting with people from the past as well that you can find on social media and reconnect with loved ones. It's beautiful.
Yeah, very, very. There's one I for a long while I've not seen that my friend. Over 25 years, it was through social media that I met her again. And we were like sisters when we were growing up. So how will I put it now? The feeling is so awesome. Seeing your loved ones after a long time through social media. And not even only that, I find out that the less privileged, those that are very, very poor in our society, when they do some good to people see them on social media and help them. Like the recent one that happened here in Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria, the pure water hawker boy that was helping the prisoners, giving them money. Somebody saw it, Obi Kubana saw him and has helped that boy now. There's one I just read again now, Jeremiah Iwari, Dead to State. He said he wants to see the person that captured that video of that pure water boy. So you can see that people that are less privileged or the poor ones, the downtrodden in our society, they are being helped through the social media. Yeah. So I feel that the social media has done a lot of good and harm for me personally. So I don't know of somebody else.
Yeah.
So I just tried to chip this evening from Nigeria.
Thank you so much for sharing your opinion. Yes, even just another example, like the Crow Du Boys that do the remake videos of Netflix shows
Okay.
and popular movies and TV shows. They started off, like low budget with just a smartphone with whatever they could find around them. Now there are people who are wanting to sign deals with them all through the power of social media and sharing. You could really change
Yes, I'm
someone's
aware
life.
of that too.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm aware of that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So the social media is doing a lot of good work. So I love it.
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes. I
Thank you
agree
very
with you.
much.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in and for sharing your opinion as well.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good evening. We'll let you go. And yeah, I mean, I think just hearing these stories alone from our callers and from you chatters is beautiful. The beauty of social media, we really cannot ignore it. That even though there is the negative, that there is such a beautiful side to us as a society. And I think it just speaks to human beings in general, our human nature, that yes, there is the other side that's maybe not so good, but it feels like good will always overrule, that light will always stamp out the darkness, that we'll always see a light at the end of the tunnel. And social media allows us to see that in one breath or in 1 second, you could see something negative, and then in the next, you could see someone's life being positively impacted and positively changed. I mean, there are people who create whole platforms and accounts on just helping people, just paying it forward, being a positive reinforcement or light or empowerment. Like there's one lady, I think she's in New York, who spends her weeks just going around and feeding the homeless population, giving them food, resources, supplies, and through her sharing on social media, she's getting more donations to continue her work. She's getting help. GoFundMes that are started to help people pay rent. Strangers will be more than willing to contribute to help people, keep a roof over their heads, to feed their families. There's so much beauty that's happening, and I think it's just the epitome of the beauty of society in general. And I will say this time and time again, social media, if it's more harmful than good, I don't know. I don't think that there's a real yes or no answer to that question. It is what social media is what you make of it, is how you use it, how you engage with it. If you want to continue to engage in the harmful parts of it, then that's all you're going to see. But if you choose to see the positive, you choose to see the good, you choose to see the ways that it's making a change in this world, making a difference, being a positive, source or platform in our world, then that's what you're going to continue seeing, and it's beautiful. Thank you to all of our callers that called in today to share their opinions on this subject. It's fun. This was fun. I'm definitely going to do another Let's Chat segment. I think it's great for us to interact and to get a chance to talk to you at home as well. But I think this is a time for us to really think as we continue on in this new year. The first month is wrapping up. Think about what we're putting out into the world. And it could start with social media. That might be the first step, that if it's something that you wouldn't say to yourself or to a loved one, keep it to yourself. Maybe you don't need to share it with that person. Maybe you don't need to add to this conversation. Maybe you just need to stay on the positive side. Maybe just block and delete it, pretend you never saw it, turn it off for a minute, go for a walk, do what you need to do so that we can continue to use social media in a positive way to help empower others, to bring awareness, to bring advocacy. And right now, I would be remiss not to talk about something to bring awareness to. Now, this is kind of a discussion of social media and how social media can make a difference in the world. Earlier in the summer, there was the case of Gabby Petito and her death, or I guess murder, where a lot of people found out about the story through social media and were basically playing their own mini detectives and investigating the matter. And it helped the FBI kind of put pieces of the case together because people were sending in tips from everywhere. Now, there's another story of a young 23-year-old who was recently found dead in... Hello? Hello, we have another caller. Hello, joining us. Hi there,
Hi.
Where are you calling from?
I wasn't sure who was going to take the call. I thought I was going to talk to Kenny. Is he there?
No, this is my live show right now. You're live on the Chat Up Show.
I'm so sorry. Okay, it's is it a good time though? Do you want me to join or?
Yes, you could definitely join in the conversation. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. I'm not sure. I thought I was going to have like a private talk with him. Anyways, how long is the show going to be for? I'm not connected to the
Oh, we're only on for the next couple of minutes, actually. We're almost
Oh,
wrapping
okay.
up just now.
Okay, then I will join in then. I will join in.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you for tuning in. But as I was saying, there was the story of Lauren Smith Fields, who is a 23-year-old who was found dead in her apartment after meeting up with a man from the dating app Bumble. And this happened in Bridgeport, Connecticut, just before Christmas. And the story has been gaining traction on social media because the family feels that the police did not do enough to investigate. Now, the reason I bring up this story is because of the power that social media has, and if it's used as a tool to fight for justice. A lot of people now are speaking up about this case, urging the police to actually look further into the different witnesses and different suspects that may be there and available to give more information as to what happened to this 23-year-old woman who is now dead, and we know her family still do not understand what happened, how it happened, and they just want more of an investigation to be done to seek some justice for their daughter. Social media is what is helping, build this case up and to, bring more attention to it, to bring about justice. That is a beautiful side. Even though it is sad that someone has lost their life, it is beautiful to see so many people who never knew her but feel connected in some way. Bumble is a dating app that a lot of people are on. That this could happen to anyone, as scary as it seems. And that if we fight for justice for someone, that this could then be the precedent for future people to keep them safe, to ensure that these apps remain safe. Folks are urging the app itself to come out, make a statement, to talk about it, to talk about the importance of safety. Bumble, especially being an app that was created for women to feel safe in the dating environment, now is, being put forward as this place where it's not so safe, so what are you going to do to make sure of it? Again, a lot of these apps, sure, we can definitely hold them accountable if they're not doing enough to ensure the safety of their users, as Facebook as well isn't doing enough to curb or get rid of hate speech or hate crimes, that misinformation that's being spread on these platforms. That yes, the owners, obviously there's some sort of an onus on them to ensure that these apps are as safe as possible. But at the same time, it's still users as well, I don't want to blame us as the users, but we still need to remember that we are still somewhat in control. So if we want justice, you can get on social media and you can start your own campaign. If you want to seek justice, if you want to create awareness, that it's still a platform and a tool that you can use. Yes, there is the negative side, and yes, you may be subject to some trolling or harassment, but we still see the good side, that it can really make a positive impact on people's lives. So before I leave you today, I just want to leave you with that little reminder that yes, social media can be a place that can become very negative, that can have us questioning our self-worth, but it can be incredibly empowering. You can find your community on social media. You can help make a change in the world. A lot of us say that we want to make a difference. We want to leave some sort of a legacy. Sure, the internet will definitely leave a lasting legacy, because you can't get rid of anything on the internet unless, I guess you can pay for it, maybe get things deleted, but it's there for almost forever. There's an imprint that's left. So if that's what you're looking for, then it's up to you to do that. That it's not always just relying on these apps to do it for us, to make things better for us. We also have to take a step up. If you see someone being harassed and you feel that you can speak up in favor, then do that. Just before we go off air, we just have our final caller tuning in right now. Hi there, caller. Where are you calling from and what's your name?
Hi, my name is Michael, calling from Mississauga.
Hi, Michael from Mississauga. How you doing?
Very well, and you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good to have me.
Yes, it's good to have you. So, as we were discussing, did we just lose our caller? Are you still there, Michael?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes. So our topic, if social media is doing more harm than good, what are your opinions?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of aspect of social media and effects. So the mental health part, mm-hmm. Relationship, teens, body image, eating disorder. So it has impact on a whole lot of aspect of life. So it depends on where you're looking at it from. Mm-hmm. If I take from a relationship point of view, it's obviously no good, I would say. I mean, being that a lot of people see the SMs now, permit me to use the word. I'm not sure if I introduced myself. My name is Michael Okole.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so I'm calling from Mississauga.
Yeah.
So if you take the relationship point of view now, you see that SMs seem to be where people now go to seek solace, right? You have issues. When they have issues, they seem to go to social media for emotional support, which ought not to be. So that's a downside. Does it have its good side? Yes. Maybe the people you chat with or socialize with on social media while you're having those relationship challenges could provide some guidance, therapy, or advice on how to better manage your relationship. So that's a good side, depending on whom you're socializing with at that point in time, right? So from the mental health point of view, you find that that's where most people get to spend a major part of their day. You know, you have work from 9 to 5, you would find those 8 hours or 9 hours time, 2-3 hours of it is spent on social media, IG, Twitter, and all that. Some for business purposes, some for obviously social purpose. So that's why I ask what aspect you're looking at it from, you know, in order to be able to narrow it down.
You know what, I want to stick with the relationship aspect because I think that even just that, you touched on an interesting point. I mentioned earlier in the show that a lot of people use social media as like a diary or a journal to vent. But with relationships, do you think that social media is altering how we as a society view relationships, especially when it comes to disagreements or arguments within a relationship?
Yeah, I mean, a whole lot. I mean, you could tell from a story of one of our music crooner, Two-Face, known as Two Baba, had something recently with Annie, someone who he's been in a relationship with for years, and something went wrong. I mean, relationship does hit the rock, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes just the two of you to resolve it. Sometimes, in fact, you don't even need a third party in resolving issues between, you know, two adults. You know, if you can talk it over, have a quiet time, and, you know, reflect on, identify what the problem is, come up with options to resolve those problems, and then, you know, move on from there. You don't need a pastor, you don't need an imam or someone to help resolve issues when it comes to two adults. So, but you could see that the whole thing went dirty when they went on social media. There was a lot of, you know, backlashes, people pushing back and forth. And, you know, I guess from the outlook of things now, things have been resolved, right? But how it was resolved, nobody knows. I guess the two haven't been friends for years, must have, you know, thought about, you know, just having those issues resolved, you know, between themselves. So it's a huge one. You see people indirectly. I think I was sharing same with a friend recently, you know, who had a problem with his relationship, and you know, it sure does have a very huge impact on the way, you know, relationships are handled.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's definitely a true point that you made up, that if you're going to bring it publicly, when you do make that public too. Like, you can't bring this now to all of us and then decide that you're going to deal with it privately after you've already made it public. That might as well just keep it between you instead of bringing it to social media and sharing it for a bunch of strangers to have their opinions on the intimate workings of your relationship.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you're there, I mean, it has the good side is that you're there when you buy all the Gucci, all the Louis Vuitton, and all of those stuff. It's an opportunity for you to showcase it. Tells just how much of a socialite you are, right? So that's a good part, the good part of it, you know. But when things goes wrong, those things are no more. Relationship goes sour. It's also another avenue where people come to showcase all of those stuff. So it's a plus and a minus at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to conclude that social media is a plus and minus, that there's good and the bad that comes with it, both sides. But yes, so thank you to all of our callers and for tuning in today. It's been so great to chat with you. This Let's Chat segment went so well. I'm so excited. And thank you for sharing all your opinions, very, very valid opinions as well, as to whether social media is more harmful than good. I think what I've gathered from all our callers today and their opinions that they shared is that there's so much good on social media that we should just focus on that and not just focus on the negative. And I think that's a great motto for life, that focus on the positive, don't only focus on the negative, and use the negative to fuel more positive, right? Don't use it to just keep you down. Let it motivate you to keep doing good in this world. And with that, that does conclude the Chat Up Show for today. Again, thank you so much to all of our callers for tuning in. Don't worry, we'll definitely be doing another Let's Chat segment later on in the year. Thank you to all those watching at home as well. Thank you every week for tuning into the Chat Up Show. You make the show what it is. You make it the Chat Up Show. So thank you so much. Again, the motto is focus on the positive, not the negative. Now, you can continue to watch us on GBKM at www.gbkm.tv or www.gbkm.fm, where you can listen and watch live 24/7, catch up on any past shows you may have missed, check out upcoming show schedules, as well as our app that is available for download for all iOS and Android devices. So make sure you download that so you can take us on the go with you, listen and watch live 24/7, and you'll be notified every time we go live, so that if we have another Let's Chat, you'll be able to tune in right on time. And make sure you continue to watch us on Facebook and YouTube at GBKM Network, where you can like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at GBKM Network, where we'll keep you updated on what's going on right here at GBKM. You can also follow me, your host, on Instagram and Twitter at TIS_Liz_O for more updates on what's going on the Chat Up Show. And with that, I will chat with you the same time, same place next week. Take care.
Scarborough, downtown Toronto, North York, Woodbridge, and Mississauga. Also located in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Visit any location today or stay home and order through
DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Skip the Dishes.
For more information, check out our website at www.thesuyaspot.com or call the toll-free line at +1 866 448 7892. The Suya Spot. You built it, now use it. Vous l'avez construit, utilisez-le. Canada's #1 African barbecue.